Esther. Still in lockdown, still in Oxford, I guess.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit fed up of staying in the same space all the time, and things can get a bit tense with my family.
Yeah, here too. It's hard all being squashed in together. And people are worried because it's all so different. And also, some people are worried because they're afraid of dying, which is just what it was like for the first disciples.
Jesus' friends were all together in the same place, hiding out together. They were worried that the religious leaders would find them. You see, they were looking to kill all of Jesus' friends, to get rid of the rumours that Jesus had come back from the dead. Just like us, they'd sometimes head out for a bit of exercise. Peter's favourite form of exercise was fishing. Now, Peter was one of Jesus' closest friends, the one who said he'd never leave Jesus, he'd never abandon him. But he did. He ran away when Jesus needed a friend the most. And has said he wasn't even a friend of Jesus. Even though Peter and Jesus had met a few times since Jesus had come back to life, they'd not talked about it. Peter hadn't forgiven himself for it, and he wondered if Jesus would ever forgive him. And that's where we find Peter, fed up, unable to sleep, and going to his favourite lake to go fishing. But Peter didn't catch anything that night. By first light of dawn, he was feeling worse than ever when he heard a voice calling to him from the lakeside. Hey, have you caught anything?
Not a thing.
Throw your nets on the other side of the boat. Peter had heard Jesus say these words before, really early on in their friendship. It's how Peter had caught a miraculous catch of fish when he had first met Jesus, and what had made Peter realise that Jesus was the Lord. When Peter heard this, he let the others bring the fish in. He turned to Jesus and shouted,
It's the Lord, it's Jesus.
and with that, he put on his jacket, dived into the water and swam to the shore. Jesus had a warm fire ready for Peter by the time he got to him. I guess he needed it to dry out. They then had a breakfast of cooked fish and bread. And then Jesus said to Peter, "Why don't we go for a walk?" Jesus asked Peter, "Peter, do you love me deeply? Do you love me more than these?" Peter remembered how he told Jesus that he'd never abandon him because he loved him so much more than anyone else, but how he had abandoned him and denied that he'd even been his friend 3 times. Peter replied to Jesus,
Yes, Lord, you know that I'm your friend.
"Then take care of my people."
Jesus asked Peter a second time.
"Peter, do you love me deeply?"
Yes, Lord, you know that I'm your friend.
"Then look after my people."
Then Peter asked Jesus a third time.
"Peter, are you even my friend?" This really hurt Peter. Why was Jesus asking him again? Didn't he believe him? Then Peter remembered. 3 times he'd said to the servant girl outside the priest's house that he wasn't a friend of Jesus. 3 times Jesus was asking him whether he was his friend.
My Lord, you know everything. You know that I burn with love for you.
"Then take care of my people. Peter, follow me."
Isn't that a great story? Poor Peter knew he'd really let Jesus down and felt terrible about it. Did you notice that the first 2 times Jesus asked, "Do you love me?" Peter couldn't bring himself to answer what he really felt. He only says the weak answer of, "I'm your friend." How could he say he really loves Jesus when he knew he'd been so rubbish? But Jesus keeps asking him, and Jesus gave him a second and a third chance.
And Jesus says that he'll give us chance after chance after chance. He tells us that we should forgive other people 77 times 7 times, which is an awful lot. And if God wants us to forgive other people that much, then he'll forgive us even more times.
God will forgive us for getting something wrong more than 539 times.
Yes, as long as we're sorry and don't want to do it again, God will forgive us always, every time.
Did you notice the 2 things that Jesus said were most important?
Yes, I did. He wants us to love him and to love others. He says to Peter, "Do you love me?" And then he tells Peter, "Look after my people."
It's like when Jesus asked what the two greatest rules of life are. Jesus said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your strength, and love others as you love yourself."
I used to know a song about that. It went, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your strength and all your mind, and love all of mankind as you would love yourselves, and love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your strength and all your mind, and love all of mankind as you would love yourselves, and love the Lord your God.
Stop, Alex. I get the idea. I don't think I will ever get that song or your terrible singing out of my head all day. Well, we notice two great things in the story. Firstly, that God will always forgive us and wants us to always forgive others. And secondly, that God wants us to love him with everything we have and to prove it by loving others. I wonder what else you noticed in the story. Here is a quick quiz for you. So, what colour is Alex's helmet? It's red. How many times had Peter said he wasn't Jesus' friend? 3 times Peter told the slave girl that he wasn't Jesus' friend. Okay, what did Peter do before he swam to shore? He put on his jacket before getting into the water. It goes to show how excited he was about seeing Jesus. He wasn't thinking straight, he just dove straight in. Okay, this one might be a bit harder. What had Jesus made to welcome Peter? He'd made a fire and a breakfast of fish and bread. Did you get all 3 of those? And finally, Jesus asked the first 2 times, "Peter, do you deeply love me?" To which Peter had replied, "You know I am your friend." What did Jesus ask Peter the last time?
Are you even my friend?
He asked him, "Are you even my friend?"
Great quiz, Esther. So, how many did you get right at home? Well, we're going to spend some time praying now. So why don't you get yourself ready before God? We're going to start off by telling God anything that we're sorry for. Maybe, like Peter, you said something mean to somebody. Or perhaps like him, you've not loved God as much as you should have done. Just spend a moment saying sorry to God for anything which you've got wrong. Now, Jesus asks you, just like he asked Peter, do you love me? Do you love me? Are you my friend? Jesus also tells us that we should look after his people. So ask God, how can you help look after his people today and this week? Maybe there's someone in your family that you should go and give a hug to. Maybe there's something which you could do for someone in your house. Perhaps a friend of yours from school, you could send them a message or make them a card or something like that. So ask God now, how can I look after your people? Great to see you today, Esther.
Have a nice week, everyone.
Bye. See you later.
See you
Bye,
soon.
everyone.
Bye.